look at this. Ah, it's like all my favorite things in one spot. Just all the vintage paper. Yummy goodness. Just, oh, makes me happy. Ah, so good. So let's talk about, there's all these cool vintage wallpapers that I used. Every single thing is a vintage wallpaper in here, with the exception of the wings. And this is a new collage pack in the shop that's like 12 pages of vintage wallpaper. I just love them. And I never use the actual wallpaper itself. It's this thing that it's like I want to have it forever. So I always scan it. So I'm using the same thing that you would be using, and it's actually better. I find I like it better for collage. So, and I can resize them. So maybe I don't need a whole sheet of it. Maybe I just need a small piece of it. And so that's what I've done. You saw that I had smaller pieces of, I knew that I wasn't going to use a whole sheet of it. So I just printed out small bits of each piece, and oh, happy goodness, happy goodness. And then I just gathered all of my vintage butterflies that I had, and I know you guys have a ton of them. You've gotten them either in collage packs, or there's free ones in the resource library or on the website in the free inspiration tab there. So you can, I know you all have vintage butterflies and stuff like that. And then I just went to work at just adding some color, you know, with my fingers, and then drips and drops and stuff like that. Being careful to not cover up too much. I mean, it's all there, and I don't know if you can see it on camera, but all of the papers you can really actually see, with the exception of maybe a couple up here, which is fine. And I kind of blocked out, once I got the flowers down, I just kind of blocked it out lightly with some watered down. And I used all fluids just because they're light and easy spread. Color is great. And then what else did I do? Oh, I used some stencils. 3 different stencils I used. This is always a go-to, the vintage quatrefoil. It's just always a great little bit of pattern here and there. Over here I used it. Then I used the old type text in the, I just and then I used, when I really wanted some controlled looking drips, I didn't want them to go all over the place, and I started dripping in certain spots, and then I went back to this, and you can kind of smear it out a little bit so that it doesn't look like a stencil so much, but you have a little bit more control over it, which is why I designed that one. So, and that, I think, oh, and I used charcoal pencil, and then I used Marabou art crayon for the edge, because I wanted it to kind of feel a little watery and not to kind of go with some of the paint. So that's it. This is a 12 by 12 MDF board. So this says awaken your soul, and most of you know that over the, let's say, well, over the last 2 months, I've just kind of been in that place, and I think that the more I listen to everyone's been kind of in that place of just quiet contemplation, or even kind of struggling back and forth with maybe some depression, and I think a lot of that has to do with the weather and the season. And we can be in winter even when it's summertime. We can have our own season of winter. It just depends on where we are on our journey. But in the process, and I was reminded this week, this is all inspired by, we had a couple of really great days. The sun came out. I felt like I needed to shout it from the rooftops. I wanted to all my social media, but I thought, just settle down. Like, the sun is out, the sun is out. And it's been warmer, not warm, but warmer, so not frigid cold. And then a couple days we had like 60 degrees. It was like, oh, it's like the fog lifted. And I was just reminded of that lesson, that when we're in our winter, And we need those seasons. We need those times of quiet reflection, of really diving down deep, and really searching out what we're questioning or what we're struggling with. We have to do that to be able to grow. That's so very, very important. And that's our ebb and flow of life. But then there comes a time, and like all the snow, like outside, all the snow melted. And suddenly it was like the earth came to life. The birds were singing and chirping. The geese were flying in. The ducks were flying into the water. Everybody was out walking their dogs. It was like this explosion of life. And I think that's so true with our own journey. And I know it is for me. And I'm always speaking from where I've been and what I've journeyed, what my journey has been. And I know that there is always after this kind of winter season, this awakening. And this time where everything explodes into some clarity. And so I want to tell you that because you might still be in that winter. Or you might experience winter a couple more months down the road. Whatever season or whatever you're dealing with, whatever trial or whatever it is, you might experience your winter in a different time. But hang on and do the work that's meant for that quiet time, so that suddenly when the winter thaws, you will explode with this beauty that your soul will awaken. And don't stay in that winter season. Know that it's coming, and all of the things that are growing underneath in that winter season are going to come alive again. It's going to be an awesome time. And I looked up awaken, and so let me read this really quick. And I loved it. So this is like the word origin. It's from the Old English, and it means to spring into being, to arise, to originate, to wake up. Oh! To spring into being. So when you're feeling that kind of heaviness, know that there is coming a time when you will spring back into life, and that the snow will melt and the birds will come out and life will bloom again. And please don't miss the opportunity that the winter provides. It provides the rest that we need. It provides the quiet time. It provides refresh and replenishment. It provides so much. We just have to be aware of what it's for and why we're there in this time where you're just like, oh, no more. And believe me, I understand it 100%. But there will always, and that's kind of, there's hope in there too. That word hope kind of mixes in there. When we know that we won't always be there, that's that hope thing that sings to our soul, and we will awaken. All right, lovies, I hope your Sunday is awesome. And I hope that if you are in winter, that you take the time you need and just know that you will come springing alive again, and that your soul will awaken. Have a wonderful Sunday, and always, always know that you are loved.